Yeah, I think the announcement yesterday is a really positive step for the Labour Party, and I think Keir Starmer is completely right to say that we should be staying in the single market and customs union for a transition period after the Article 50 negotiations finish. We heard some really strong arguments from him yesterday about how we need to protect the economy, businesses need certainty, we don't want firms to be deluged with new red tape of customs declarations. A number of firms will be discussing contracts with companies over on the continent, in Europe. They need to know whether they're going to be slapped with tariffs straight away. And so I do think for the economy, for jobs, for trade, investment, the announcement is a good thing.
Is it a calculated risk politically? Because, as Ranveer said, obviously there's going to be a large part of the constituency, particularly in northern towns and cities, who really want to get out fast and they want a hard Brexit. So they're going to be fed up about this. On the other hand, he's certainly going to have pleased the young, because most young people want to stay. They don't even want to leave Europe. Is it a calculated political risk rather than the kind of nuanced decision that you're describing it as?
I think it's about doing the right thing for the country, and as we have all seen over the last 6 months with the Brexit negotiations, this is a fiendishly complicated and complex thing to do.
Well, Jeremy Corbyn did say, when he was pushed on it not so long ago, actually, that leaving the EU does mean leaving the single market, and now this sort of feels like it's a halfway house between saying, actually, we'll just hang on until 2020, till the next general election, and see how the land lies.
Well, I think if you listen to what a lot of the Leave campaigners were saying in the run-up to the referendum last year, people like Owen Paterson, who was the then Secretary of State for DEFRA, Environment, Farming and Rural Affairs, he was saying only a madman would leave the single market. Boris Johnson said, I'd vote to stay in the single market. Aaron Banks was saying Norway looks increasingly like the best option.
Your party isn't doing what the Liberal Democrats are doing. The Liberal Democrats are saying, right, let's have a second referendum. They've kind of gone one step further. Would you support that then? Would the Labour Party, if they put in an amendment to the EU bill and said, actually, let's have a second vote on the entire thing and let's even remain if we don't want to leave, would the Labour Party back that? Or are they still the party of Brexit, but it would... Do you know what I mean? Where has the line been drawn?
Well, I think that what the Labour Party wants to do is to put jobs and the economy first. When we had the Article 50 vote back at the end of January, I personally voted for a report to be laid about the possibility of a second referendum on the final terms of the deal.
But how can you even do international trade deals, new ones, which is what we need in order to be successful outside of the EU, whilst remaining in what Keir Starmer says is this transitional single market? I think is the whole point of the single market. You can't do any outside deals. So it's sort of delaying the inevitable.
That's not right, actually, what you've...
But you can put feelers up. You can't actually sign on the dotted line and say this is what we've got.
I think what we have to understand is that half of our exports go to the European Union, be it goods or services. The most important thing for the future of our economy is for our businesses to be able to trade easily with other European businesses and consumers.
With still the freedom of movement of people, which is kind of what was the big thing about Brexit, was controlling immigration, which you can't do in the single market.
If you look at something called the European Economic Area Agreement, there are provisions within that, Article 112, which allow any member state to limit the operation of one of the four freedoms if you can prove economic or social harm. And so I think what we need to be doing is having a real sensible, grown-up, mature debate with our European counterparts. And I think that what Keir Starmer has done yesterday is going to really increase the pressure on Theresa May and the Conservatives, because I think there are a number of Conservative MPs that don't want the risk associated with this really hard Brexit of coming out of the single market and customs union.
A yes or no answer to this, because we're over time. Yes or no, do you secretly hope that the 4 years turns to 6 years and then 8 years and then 10 years and then we just gradually drift into a kind of a halfway house relationship here?
That's impossible to answer with a yes or no. I think that if there isn't a better offer on the table than staying in the single market and customs union permanently would be the right thing for the country.
Then I'll take it as a yes.